Love Posse, on my spiritual journey, I've come to realize and experience that we have to make space for happiness. Sometimes I'm walking on the sidewalk when I'm going on my morning walk, and I'm skipping without really even realizing it. I know that I'm skipping. I'm doing the motion of skipping, but I don't know why I'm skipping. And then I'm humming and skipping. And I usually stop and speak to my higher self and ask, why am I skipping? And my higher self responds with, you're happy. You're happy. I'm skipping and humming because I'm happy. And that in turn brings tears to my eyes. I begin to cry. Why am I crying? Because I'm experiencing happiness. You see, happiness surprised me. It surprises us when we least expect it. Happiness comes up because we've unknowingly made space for happiness. We've unknowingly created happiness. And I've noticed that I never found happiness in the grocery store next to the chocolates. I didn't find happiness on an app. I didn't see happiness in a post on social media. I didn't follow any regimented, dogmented steps of this is how you create happiness. I didn't buy it. Right? It wasn't consumed. It didn't come with compulsive shopping. I also learned that it's temporary. It's impermanent. Like all things that the people that were saying, be happy, or you can get happiness this way by following these things, didn't necessarily work for me, that I couldn't maintain the state of happiness, this feeling of happiness 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year. Happiness crept up on me, unknowingly, surprising me. And for many of us, during these times, during this time of global initiation, spiritual awakening, human evolution, wrapped up in a descriptor called COVID-19, it may be challenging, to say the least, to make space for happiness. But try, or replace the but with and. We can experience all that is happening on the planet and allow happiness to surprise us, to appear when we least expect it, or when we were not expecting it. I wasn't expecting happiness. But it showed up, right? And I was aware or not aware, meaning I hadn't experienced it enough to know that I was experiencing happiness. I had to ask my higher self, what is this that I'm feeling? But I have come to realize that I was able to experience happiness because I've been able to experience grief and sadness and joy and anger and frustration. All the range of human emotions that are manifest in the body in the form of sensations, in the mind in form of thoughts. And if you asked me, how did you experience happiness? What did you do? I will tell you that it's individual. You will experience it if you make room or space for happiness. So how did I make space for happiness? Because I can only speak to what I did. Anyone can only speak to what they have done. It may not work for you. And that's one thing I had to learn. That was one way of making space for happiness. I had to realize that what someone else did to create A or B worked for them. I had to discover what works for me. I had to let go of things that caused stress, that created anxiety. I had to let go of people that caused stress and created anxiety, that were not supportive or uplifting, and people who did not speak truth. Yeah, most people want people around them who will tell them what they want to hear. I want people around me who tell me what I need to hear, the truth that I need to hear, because I can do something with the truth, right? I had to learn to accept the flow of life, to accept when it's slow, to move slowly in life. When the tempo speeds up, to move with the tempo, to move with the energy of life and not go against it. I had to learn to communicate with my body and ask my body, what is it that you need to function well, to function at your peak? To allow happiness to manifest, to be created, to be experienced. I had to get clear about what makes me happy. What do I feel good about? When I'm doing it, I feel wonderful. What is that? And do that on a regular basis. I had to learn to stop pleasing, being a people pleaser, to keep the peace. I had to learn that peace sometimes can be comfortable and familiar and not authentic. So I had to learn to let go of always wanting to keep the peace. And what do I mean by that? Speaking my truth, saying no, that doesn't feel good to me. No, I don't want to do that. No, that doesn't serve me. No, I don't want to speak on that day. No, thank you for inviting me to your event, but it's not right for me. I had to learn to create boundaries. I had to learn to communicate lovingly, kindly, and honestly. That feels like manipulation to me. I don't like that feeling of manipulation. What is it do you want from me? If I can help, I will. If it feels right for me. Right? I love nature, so I spend time in nature every single day, sometimes more than once a day, because nature enriches me, nature heals me, nature feels good. I am nature. I had to be still, and it's a beautiful thing, you know. I chose a mother, an earth being through which to come through and manifest as human in this experience, and that earth being in which I call Mama taught my sisters and I when we were young. She would say, I'm not here to entertain you. Go to your room, go to your space, be still, read a book, learn about yourself, right? Because if you can't be alone and with yourself, you can't be with anyone else. So I grew up, right, with that instilled in me. And I believe that for me as a parent, that was something important that my mother taught my sisters and I, to learn to be alone, which is different from being lonely. Being lonely comes from lack. Being alone comes from a sense of fulfillment. Let me say that again. Feeling loneliness comes from a feeling of lack. Being alone comes from a feeling of fulfillment. I love being alone because being alone provides some essential benefits: self-discovery and connection with spirit. When I'm alone in nature, I connect with the divine. I connect with other life because I am life. I understand some of the workings of life, being in nature and being alone. The thoughts cease, or I just don't pay attention to it, because actually they don't cease. They become slow, they slow down for me, and they pass. I'm more focused on the sky and the sun and the moon and the earth and the trees and the birds, the winged ones, the trees, one-legged. And all these things, also with I don't live on credit, which decreased my stress. I buy everything with cash. If I cannot pay with the money, my debit card, with the money I have in my bank account, or with dollars and coins, I don't buy it. Right? I don't accumulate things to cope. I deal with the wound that is wanting me to buy something, right? I live a simple life. I don't have things around me that may be described as clutter. I develop meaningful relationships with people, not a horde of people, because I've come to learn that developing a friendship, a true friendship, takes time and energy. And my time and energy is valuable. So I don't waste my time and energy on people who want surface friendships. I'm cordial, I'm kind, I'm loving, but you won't waste my time. All of these things and many others, I do what makes me happy. I do what makes me happy, what feels good. And in cultivating these practices, these ways of living, happiness crept up on me. Happiness was unknowingly created. Happiness surprised me, right? I made space for happiness. I stopped complaining. I let go of the need to be right. Don't need to be right. Don't need to compare myself with others. Stop the vain striving. I did all these things, right? I know people who incessantly have to give their opinion and comment on something. Oh, I don't like the color of that car. Did you see that house? Oh, I didn't like that house. Did you see what she was wearing? Oh, I didn't like what she was wearing. Did you see her hair? No, I don't comment on those things, right? They're not important to me. Unhappy people do those things. People who reside in judgment do those things. I'm not saying that I have conquered judgment, that I am non-judgmental all the time. I'm not. It's an ongoing process, but I work on it. I'm aware of it. And I have a pretty good handle on it, and I'm proud of that. But all these things that I'm sharing with you is what I do. And because I do these things on an ongoing basis, being gentle with myself, being compassionate, right? And practicing compassion, all these things I practice, I made space for happiness to surprise me unknowingly. Wow. Wow. Make space for happiness. I sure enough love you. Namaste. Namaste.